guys, I'm FPL Nymfria and welcome back to the home of FPL videos. What a bonkers weekend of football, especially from an FPL perspective, with only one premium FPL asset returning this week. Where have all the points gone? Let's take a look at how I got on in Gameweek 8. Well, I have to admit, I didn't expect a clean sheet from Burnley against Everton for Pope. I'm not really sure why. Everton haven't exactly been great, but I just felt like this could be the game that they might start to look better again. So, much to my surprise, when Pope got me 7 points from his clean sheet, minutes played, and 1 bonus point, he also made 2 saves, meaning he narrowly missed out on an extra point towards my team total. There was a point in the 3pms where it looked like all 3 of my defenders were going to make it through unscathed, and I was looking at a massive green arrow from 3 defensive clean sheets. However, Trent lost his clean sheet in the 80th minute to a Maddison goal and could only manage 3 points towards my team total from his minutes played and a bonus point, no doubt obtained from his 10 crosses, 5 key passes and 2 big chances created. Mings also looked close to bagging me my first clean sheet since owning him, that is until Norwich scored a pointless goal in the 87th minute to deny me and leave me with just 2 points from the Aston Villa man. I'm now very tempted to sell him on, despite me hearing good things about him. Moving on to Lundstrom, the only one of my backline to actually deliver what he started and get me a clean sheet. He got me 5 points, which could have been a bit more if he didn't pick up a yellow card, as I think he was on for a bonus point or 2 until that card happened. Moving on to midfield, and those with a nervous disposition should look away now. I have 2 12mm plus midfielders in my team, and I may as well have had 2 5mm midfielders there instead. Salah and Sterling both letting me down. Sterling, despite having 73 touches, having a shot on target and 2 shots blocked, only managed to add 2 points to my team total. Salah, despite his 2 shots on target and 3 shots blocked, only managed to add the same. These two just do not look the levels of last season, and with Mane actually returning this week with a goal and an assist, it only made the Salah blank so much worse. Moving on to Mcginn. Oh, you can only laugh or cry when a team you have an FPL asset in manages to score 5 goals and the guy you own is the only person that doesn't seem to be involved at all and gets himself a yellow card. So that although he had 69 touches, 2 shots off target and a shot blocked, he only actually managed to get 1 point towards my team total. I mean, how is that even possible? The Mcginn looked like an absolutely footballing god against Burnley and Arsenal, and then in the game where his teammates smash it, he gets next to nothing in points from it. Jano at FPL Today, I think you might have been right about buying and breaking people. You got him in this week, right? Lastly, let's move on to something a little more positive, and let's talk about Mount. At least one half of my M&Ms did something this week. 7 points from a goal and minutes played. He looked so lively and missed a great chance provided by Tammy, which was dragged wide of the goal. A little unfortunate, I thought. Moving on to my forwards, and let's start with Pookie. I said last week in my trending transfer section that if the Norwich boys don't deliver at home this week, that they would be sold in droves. Norwich have been so good at home this season that we've all been taking the away failures a little flippantly, I feel. I was sure he'd do well against Aston Villa. He did have 3 key passes and 2 shots blocked, but only added 1 point to my team total. It's not good enough, really. On the other hand, Abraham stepped up this week, a week behind my hit to get him in, but I'll definitely take it. He got 8 points from his goal scored, bonus point and minutes played. And then lastly, we have Aguero. Oh man, the heartbreak. I followed my gut and captained him this week, despite me being very unsure of him starting. He did start, and I did have just a tiny moment where I felt this might be my week as a long-suffering Sterling and Aguero owner, when all KDB owners have had weeks and weeks of points. Alas, it ended up being just a fleeting moment. Wolves showed up at the Etihad, and in a bit of a shock turn, City scored no goals. Aguero had 2 shots blocked, but only managed 2 points, doubled to 4 as my captain to add to my team total. I actually considered starting a petition to remove all City assets from the game, given the trouble we're all having living with them all, remove all temptation for us, we might be better off. All of this means that I ended on a total of 42 points. That places me at an OR of 295,282 and a small but much appreciated green arrow going into the international break. Looking forward to Game Week 9, and this is how I'm looking at the moment. A lot of what happens with this team will be dictated by what happens in the international break. I have 2 free transfers here and not much of a clue right now what to do with them. Looking at it on paper, there doesn't seem to be much doing, but delve a little deeper and we can see some serious issues here. Villa have only kept 2 clean sheets all season, so Mings is becoming a problem. The Norwich boys are suddenly looking bad assets to own, especially away, which they are up next. Then I have some big problems facing me around the premium players. I was hoping this week would help me solve my confusion and settle my decision on whether to drop Aguero or Sterling for KDB when he returns. With neither of them winning me over and Wilson blanking this week as my main target for Aguero, I am at a loss. This has also been compounded by a possible Salah injury. If he's out, do I move to Mane and still decide to drop on Sterling or Aguero, or should I go all in on City by making Salah KDB? Last week that might have looked appealing, but it's not so much this week. Lots to think about in the break, that is for sure. Please, if you have any suggestions whatsoever, do leave them in the comments below. You know I love hearing from my Nym fam. You often help provide solutions that might not be obvious at first. Now let's move on to my trending transfers. There will be lots of movement in the next 2 weeks, with international break being a good time for those who haven't already to use their wildcards. But let's take an early look at how these trends might develop. In terms of goalkeepers, FPL managers seem keen to sign Ryan, with over 37,000 of you already transferring in the Brighton man. Patricio and Schmeichel are also close behind Ryan for the most transferred in goalkeeper, both having had over 24,000 transfers in at the time of recording this. It's with no surprise that the most transferred out goalkeeper this week is Lloris. With a dislocated elbow, managers are not hanging around. 68,000+ of you have transferred out the Spurs man already, who is likely to spend some major time on the sidelines. In defence, the injured Wan-Bissaka is the most transferred out ahead of Game Week 9, with 42,000+ FPL managers selling already. Digne could also suffer a price drop this international break, as wildcarders jump off the Everton man to free up cash. So who are FPL managers turning to in defence? The top 3 defensive transferred in this game week are Pereira, Lundstram and Dunk. Pereira taking the early lead with over 58,000 transferred in already. In midfield, there's been a couple of big premium asset injuries, and they are dictating the early transfers. Salah has been switched out by 138,000 managers already, owing to his knock, with Mane being the most obvious swap. Mane is not only cheaper, but is seemingly the better midfield Liverpool option right now. Over 141,000 of you have got him in already ahead of Game Week 9. KDB is also still being shifted on by FPL managers, with 81,000+ sales. In terms of who to look out for as the trendiest transfers to have in midfield this international break, behind Mane, it seems Mount and Maddison are picking up pace, with over 70,000 managers already getting on board. Up front, Abraham is still the most transferred in striker. 86,000+ managers have got on board the Chelsea man, who looks set to be owned by just under half of all FPL managers by the end of international break. There's been a bit of a shift in managers thinking up front also, with a large fixture switch. Players such as Alba, Vardy and Wilson are becoming trendy transfers in, despite their blanks in Game Week 8. I mentioned in last week's segment that if Pookie blanked at home, he'd be part of a mass exodus, and that seems to have come to fruition. Over 170,000 of you have ditched the Norwich man already. We're also seeing a shift away from Kane, Barnes and Greenwood up front as part of this trendy formation and fixture switch. And that's it, you guys. Enjoy your international break. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to check out my sponsors fantasyfootballfix.com, and please don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Until next time, Nymfria out.